Hello and welcome back, ladies and gents. I see you in the analytics and the comments. You are also welcome here. And if you are one of my wonderful subscribers, welcome back. My name is JAKS, and this is where I have shared my journey through infertility, IVF, adoption, parenting, and now pregnancy. And this week is my 14-week pregnancy update. The way these updates usually go is I go ahead and give an update on beta baby. That's what we're calling this baby until we reveal their name. And then I give updates on what's going on with me. And finally, I try to get a word in from the husband, since I think he's an important part of this equation. Let's kick it off with an update of what's going on with baby. They are about the size of a nectarine or a house mouse, about that big, I would guess. And they are about 1.5 ounces. Big developments this week. They continue swallowing and producing meconium. A little bit gross, but they are producing meconium. They are still kicking a lot, says all of my apps, not that I can feel it yet. And they can sense light and dark, so the difference between day and night, even though their eyelids are still fused closed. And I think most interestingly, they are starting to hear, and specifically they are hearing my voice since they're with me all the time. And that is just, I don't know, I think that's one of the magical things about a baby being born, and they already know you are their mom because of your voice and your smell, and that's something I haven't got to experience yet, so I'm just really excited for that part. All right, on to the mama update. I am weighing in at 147 at the end of week 14, so I think that's up like 0.5 pound from last week. Evidence of the Zofran helping a little. And my waist is still measuring about 29 inches. One of the symptoms of this week is the fact that I find myself tensing up my stomach a lot. And I think I even captured it when I was doing like the bump shot for the beginning of this video. I had to do it again because I'm sucking it in. Like I'm keeping those muscles tense to spare my skin from like stretching. Like subconsciously, I feel that my skin is getting tighter and I'm like, oh, that's uncomfortable. And so naturally, like my ab muscles tighten to like bring it back in. And I'm like, I can't do that. I can't keep doing that. So 20 times a day, I'm like, oh, relax those muscles out. Like you gotta like just let it happen because you can't suck it in forever. So I laugh because my waist is the same size and it's probably because my abs are in the best shape they've been in like a year. It's a little ridiculous, but I've never heard of anyone like having that sensation. Like I don't know what it is. I can't like just let it hang out, like let that sensation happen. It's weird. I'm a weirdo. So speaking of my waist obviously being a little bit bigger than normal, I've been living off leggings and finally found a deal on Facebook for some jeans, score, and little win here. I already had money on my Venmo account when I went to go pay her that I had forgotten about, so it's like they cost me nothing. I gotta take the little wins sometimes, because this week's been up and down. I had probably 2 really good days in week 14 where I was putting in the effort at work, I was getting house chores done, like I was lasting until normal people bedtimes. And then the days in between are just like someone spinning a roulette wheel of how miserable is she gonna be? I am not sure what's up. Some days, like I can get through with like 1 dose of Zofran, and then some days I'm taking it nonstop, back to back, like it's prescribed, and I'm still not getting relief. So I'm also starting to gather that we have like collectively been lying to each other when we're like, it gets better after the first trimester. Because I keep complaining, and then all these women that have had babies are like, yeah, my morning sickness went into month 4, definitely. And I was like, why are we lying to each other? We need to stop this propaganda machine. Give people realistic expectations. Sorry. Am I a little done with the nausea? I'm a little done with the nausea. I just want to eat. It's cool. So let's move on. I installed these seatbelt holders in my car that makes the seatbelt loop under a hook so it doesn't press on your stomach. Highly recommend. And now for the funny story of the week. I told my boss, I don't talk about my work much on here because obviously this is a public platform and I don't want any of my coworkers to like ever stumble upon this and feel weird because I'm talking about them. Not that it's likely because I work in tech, so the majority of my coworkers are just middle-aged men. That's it. It's middle-aged white men and Indian men. And then, yeah, it's just, you got to go down like a few demographics before you get to women. But so I've been dreading telling my boss, and partially like my boss is very good at managing people. So much so that I'm pretty sure he's just like a little management robot with some AI running him. And I was a little worried about this because he does management and he does small talk about sports and like weather really well. But anytime I've tried to like take conversations like more personal or like outside of the realm of work, like he just shuts down and like was like, why are we talking about this? What are your weekly goals? And which is fine, because as long as he's a good manager, like, I guess, what do I care if we talk about home renovations or anything? Like, whatever, we'll just do work, that's fine. But I told him that I needed maternity leave next year, and I broke him. I broke the management robot. Oh, I did. He literally got this panicked look in his eyes, his head cocked to the side, and he was like, congrats. I haven't dealt with this very often. Or no, I haven't dealt with this ever. I haven't dealt with this ever. Which, first of all, I'm not a problem to be dealt with, but whatever. And he's never dealt with someone on maternity leave. So we had no idea what our policies were, like, just in any capacity. And he moved on from the conversation. Like, I've talked about this conversation longer than it took to have this conversation. And I kid you not, he's like, so what's on your plate for this week? And I was like, that is what I wanted to talk about this week, but we can talk about this other project if you want. It was not like a bad experience, but like clearly it could have been handled way, way better. And I've had experiences telling bosses that I need like parental leave. I have a video on it actually. I had to tell 3 different bosses I needed maternity leave. So like I have some experience, and this one was just exactly what I expected. Just exactly. And finally, I'm gonna end my part of this video with a new segment called The Silliest Thing I Cried At This Week. The silliest thing that I ugly cried at this week, thanks to pregnancy hormones, was this post over on Pinterest. It's important to note that like Harry Potter was my childhood, so there is some investment here. But I straight up just like ugly cried. And I laughed about it later, but I was like, oh gosh, these are pregnancy hormones. This is hilarious. Anyway, I thought I would share because I have a feeling this is going to be a reoccurring segment. All right, and finally, what is up with the husband? I asked my husband for his update this week, and his update was picking baby names is hard sometimes. When I asked for elaboration, he said baby name apps are garbo. So we are trying to wheedle down, Weedle, that's a Pokemon. We're trying to whittle down the baby name list, and we've been practicing with a few, calling Beta Baby those names throughout the day to see how we like them. So we've tried a few different apps, haven't super liked them very much. We find that some of them just like surface up like the really popular names, and yeah, we've been trying a few. We have our top pick. Unfortunately, it's gained a lot of popularity in the last few years, which is something that kind of turns me off to a name, but we're trying to decide like, is it worth it because I like it or not? But yeah, we're working on it. We've been trying out a name. I think he's not quite sold on it, and that's why we're still going back and forth, but we're working on it, you know, slowly but surely. All right, that's all the updates that I have for this week. Thank you for watching, ladies, and of course, until next time, keep on fighting.